welcome to FACEHAMMER and the Gloomspite GITZ Battletome review. On pre-order today. Everyone's very excited about this one. I know that my special guest Bryan is the hooded villain himself. So Byron is going to LVO, and so I thought I'd get someone with the closest name I could find to take his place.
Like some cheap substitute.
Yeah. I'm gonna take my hood down now. That's enough Moonclan grot, or as I like to call them, Night Goblin impression. Some old school. So maybe before we get started, we'll go through the Battletome. We're gonna talk about match play rules, cool stuff in there, and the reason I've got Bryan on is because during playtesting you were living, breathing, and eating the mushrooms.
I think I did. I think I did 6 games a day for a whole week because no one else was in the house. So it was completely mad. My back suffered for about a month afterwards.
Yeah. Just moving those like 160 Moonclan grots around, like
or squigs or trolls or spiders.
Yeah. So that's why I thought you could join me and help me out, because you've played the faction before, and obviously the new one was the experience. And this review will be slightly different to previous ones we've done. We're not going to be showing like every single thing in the book, but we'll be going through the main bridge points, and we've got some example lists that Bryan's so kindly sent me. They're very rough and ready. They're not got all the artifacts and all the Galatian champion stuff in there. They're more like a framework, and we can talk about what choices we'd make around battalions and things like that, because obviously, like, you know, it's easier just to kind of dump a load of Warscrolls into a pot and then see what mighty mushroom comes out.
And obviously it changes with GHBs, the rules that are in them, what else is going on. So
I don't know with the Galatian champion GHB like how good they would be, but actually their heroes being sniped is a problem, so maybe it's a good thing. So because they can't be sniped,
they got lots of little heroes that are cheap. So it's not a struggle getting them in. You know, some lists struggle to find points to put them in and be effective, and there's plenty of places to hide them.
Yeah, exactly.
Behind your Loonshrine to start with.
Well, yeah, but with the new GHB, you don't need to necessarily.
No.
So let's go through it then. So we'll talk about the allegiance abilities first. So I think probably the main thing is the bad moon's kind of been tidied up a bit.
Yep.
Doesn't start in the corner anymore. You get a benefit in the large table quarter, and then it moves on a 4+, so it can go off the table, but it doesn't have that, I've rolled a 6, it double moves off, right? And
there are ways you can control it as well. So a couple of different ways you can control it, because it is super impactful on the army.
You kind of want it in the middle on the crux turn, don't you? The turn that you're going to be...
you want to be able to control where it is so that you can take full advantage of it. Because if not, you're giving up quite a lot.
Yeah. So it's got a few effects. So if it's in the quarter, that everything is wholly within the quarter gets affected by the light of the bad moon. And if you're... so when you move around, you want to be a bit careful not to be like straddling quarters. You kind of want to like in or out.
The one that usually catches people out is the run and charge one.
Yeah. So you've got,
because you have to be in the quarter to charge out of it, but you don't have to start the quarter in it, so you can run into the quarter.
That's the Loonboss one, right? So basically, like when you charge, if you're in the bad moon quarter, if you ran, you can charge. But if you so you can start the turn outside of it, run into it, and then charge out of it. Yeah. So it's so there's a few effects. So Frothing Zealots improves your rally on a 4+ instead of a 6, which is quite big. Run and charge from the Squigs, we just talked about. +1 saves on Troggoths, which is great. And then the spider venom on a 5 rather than a 6.
Yeah, I mean, they're all useful.
Yeah, all good, especially if you've... But what's nice about it, if you've got a mixed army, each unit still gets the effect. You don't, like, get tied into one from your general one, do you? So.
Yeah.
Cool. And some new stuff. You've got the bosses of the Everdank. You know, between posting memes on Twitch, they decide to... have these new heroic actions. So you've got one which is Beckon the Lunatic Hordes. So only a Moonclan hero affected by Light the Bad Moon can carry out this heroic action. Can issue rally up to 3 times without spending any command points. So obviously that synergizes well with the Light, doesn't it? If you've
so you can rally 3 units and you get a model back on a 4+ and it doesn't cost you a command point. It's and obviously you've got the Loonshrine recycling in the way the Loonshrine recycles, which we'll get to later on.
Does it still work how it is in the White Dwarf update now?
Yeah, pretty much. Changed, a lot of the White Dwarf updates have been rolled in and cleaned up. But but it allows you to bring back any of the core units that you could before. So Troggoths, spiders, certain squigs, and the Night Goblin infantry. So
yeah, okay, cool. Then you've got the Dankhold Trogboss, Wade and Smash. Can make a 6-inch move, and then the move roll a dice for each unit within 1 on a 2+6 D3 model. So it's like a hero phase move.
So I've never used it, and I've probably played more than 60 games with the book.
I'd say like because you have to be within 3 of an enemy unit.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say. I mean, there could be some jank if you're like, say someone charges you with, I don't know, like a monster and you somehow survive, and they've got another unit that's within 6 of you, but you by moving to that unit, or then with outside of 3 of their character, maybe you could like. But I mean, it's so. Yeah.
It's super situational. As I said, I've never even thought about using it, let alone actually used it.
No, it is each unit within 1, so yeah, could be good if you were. If you were surrounded or something, but
I mean, it doesn't cost you anything. It's obviously you give up your heroic action.
But
it doesn't cost you
roll
any
a 1.
point.
Oh,
but
that's the worst.
No,
because you know it's going to happen. You do it in that clutch moment, and you roll a 1, and you're like, oh, for God's sake.
You're finally in the situation where you want to use it, and you roll a 1. So.
You can do these in their go though, right? Because it doesn't say
the heroic
hero phase. Because some of these ones they say.
I'm not sure about the rally
hero phase. No, it doesn't. It says no, because you can issue rally in your opponent's turn. So
so, I mean that's one that if you've got lots of Night Goblins,
going to be running. Oh my God, wading through soup.
Yeah.
So Then you've got some monstrous rampages. So we've got the ensnaring webbing. So only a Ragnarok can carry it out. Pick an enemy here within 3 inches. It's not a monster. Roll a dice. If the equals or exceeds their wound, the hero cannot fight. I mean, sure, but I mean,
it's a lot of ifs. I think I've tried to use it once, and it didn't work.
Yeah,
and I never tried to use it again. Versus the other one, which we're going to come to, which is really good. It's a shame, with both of these. There's one that's standout awesome, and then the other one is super situational. You're probably highly improbable to use.
This is the Stonehorn one. This is the Stonehorn flying, like charge something else. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. I've played like 5 games with my augurs using that Stonehorn fly thing, and there's so much you could do with it.
Yeah, you can go forwards, backwards, sideways.
The best thing is get around Unleash Hell, because you charge something, then you're boing into the thing that you want to charge. I used it to leapfrog into Techless.
I mean, it's not as good as it was, because when we first play tested it, you didn't have to end. I think you have to end within 3 of a unit now. Yeah.
What you just do?
No, you didn't. So you get charged. You'd have a monstrous reaction. So your opponent would charge you. You'd have your monstrous reaction in their turn. You'd just go away 3d6 inches. You could never be caught.
Yeah, but this one now only works when you charge, right? So
yeah.
Wow, that would have been a bit busted. That was a bit like the old Manfred one, where you could teleport in both players' turns.
Yeah, it got fixed very quickly.
Yeah,
it came up as a bit good.
We've got some command traits. So I mean, the clammy hand is probably the best named one,
and also really good.
Yeah,
because you can read out what it does, but it
basically
really
gets to use the Moonclan lair twice. So if he's within 12,
two chances, I think, on a 4-up to bring back a half of a unit you've lost, rounding up. So it's really good on big units. It's also good on units of 5 because you get 3 back. It's almost like getting the unit back.
I like Squig Whisperer.
Which one's that?
Squig Whisperer, which is the +1 to hit and wound for them attacks by the general's mount.
Yeah,
because I just like the idea that he's whispering into the squig and go get them, my pretty.
Pounding around. Yeah.
I mean, I think if you're running a squig list, that's obvious, isn't it, to take that on your mangler? So.
No, I don't think it is. I think you still take clammy hand.
Yeah, maybe you do actually, because you can still return them, can't you? Can you return Boingrots? Is that a thing?
I don't know if you can return Boingrots. I think you can return squig herds and or hoppers. Can't remember. I've got a playtest copy of the book, but it's not the final
end of
version.
your turn, pick one friendly Gloomspite GITZ unit that has been destroyed. The unit cannot be a hero, cannot be unique, must have wounds of 5 or less. So, basically anything, really.
Yeah. Yeah. The Boingrots are good.
Yeah.
Squig herds are good. Trolls are good. Troggoths. Spider riders are good.
End of your turns. After you pick on a 4, replacing unit, half the models is added. It's just a bit weird because at the end it says replacement Moonclan stabbers and shooters can include up to half as many. Oh, netters. There you go. That's what Why has it got the same thing twice? Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of your turn, isn't it? I think you do it.
Yeah. So is it your turn, or it is just yours, right?
Sure, it's your turn, yeah.
At the end of each of your turns, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. What's quite interesting as well is that the effigy that you count as being under the light when you're holding within 12, so...
Yeah, so...
It means you could keep your dude with the auto rally thing in range and just always be doing it, right? Yeah,
so basically... I mean... We'll talk about Squig in a bit.
Does he need to, do the unit he pick need? No.
No.
So the units don't need to be within range. I mean, they don't get it on 4+, but...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Moon Man just up there.
You've got the moon. You've got your Loonshrine, which is the moon as well.
Yeah.
I think it's a 12-inch.
Yeah.
If you're within 12. And Scragrot, when we get to him, has also got a moon on a stick, which is a bubble within 12.
Is it really?
So,
wow.
Yeah. So you can just live under the moon.
You're going to be. Well, I mean, it's apt, right? I mean, that's cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And it makes positioning of your Loonshrine, your terrain feature, really important because it's where you get
at the moment, right? I mean, I always try and kick it over whenever I play Gloomspite because when it upsets them.
Yes. I mean, you shouldn't ever be able to get into base contact with it. It's so easy to have so many cheap units that you can recycle.
Depends on your list, though, right? If you're playing like Trogs or Squigs, it's not that easy to have bodies. I mean, you probably always take like a big blob of 20 or 40 guys.
We'll look at this later on, but I think with Trolls it's probably hard, but with everything else you probably should have enough bodies. But yeah, it is important, and Clammy Hand's just really good. Whatever list you're running, it's just a really good.
And I guess really for the dank hold Trogboss, the only one we really need to talk about is Loonskin, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it basically
when we were talking about this earlier, you were like, it does what?
Yeah, I was like, you said to me, is it still there? And I was like, what is this? So you basically get to include Mork's Mighty Mushroom, Scuttletide, or Malevolent Moon for free. So you don't have to pay points. And he can try and cast it. But it doesn't stop other wizards casting these spells. It's just because you still have the spell in your army. So
yeah, and I think so. The mushroom's 100. I think Scuttletide's 85, and the Malevolent Moon's about 60 something off the top of my head. So you're getting a lot of points for free. That if you wanted to run pure trogs, it gives you him to cast an endless spell. Doesn't make him into a wizard. It's worded so he isn't a wizard. He can just cast it like a wizard.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're taking him in a list with other things, it's you kind of get quite a cool model for almost half price. So yeah, it's hard to see past that. And actually, it's really hard to pick between that and Clammy Hand, depending on what list you're running, as the best one of the two.
Depends which model you want as your general.
Yeah, but I mean, even to one of the one of the sub factions allows you to get bonuses to cast.
Right.
But on Gloomspite mages, there's an argument to have him as the general in that to get the endless spell for free.
To give it to another dude.
To give it to them, we're getting the bonuses to cast it.
But then he's kind of not using his cast unless you gave him an arcane tome, and then we were in a world of crazy.
Well, he did. I mean, even not using his task, if you took the mushroom, it's 100 points. He then costs 100 points, and he can just run around and bash stuff.
You're almost like, if I'm going to take the endless spell anyway, is it just better to buy him?
Yeah.
Because he's great.
Yeah, unless you've got some super niche list where you just haven't got the points to spend. But even then, I'd argue you find the room to put him in.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Like that. So we got some artifacts. What's your pick out on this one? Is it, Staff of Sneaky Stealing's always good, isn't it? So,
yeah, so the, I think it's the Helm of Many Eyes. Called the Helm of Many Eyes.
That's
like
what it's called. That's the Chaos one. That's the
Headdress of Many Eyes.
You're talking, the Headdress of Many Eyes is the Venomous Valuable Spiderfang. I'm looking at the Moonclan ones.
Okay.
So you've got a Glittering Git Shield, Backstabber's Blade, the Clammy Cow, which is -1 to hit. Then you've got a Squig Hero, improve the rend of its gob or huge gob by 1, so that's quite good.
It's quite good on a Mangler. The Git Shield's good because it bounces stuff back, and just -1 to hits. Fine. They're all okay, but there are better options elsewhere.
Moonface Mommet's good though, right? Because it's just like pick one enemy unit within 12, subtract 1 from, it's not wholly within, it's within, -1 from save rolls. So that's great. Yeah. I like that. That was one of the ones, I think that's in the old book. That's one I really like.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But you said the Headdress of Many Eyes, so 5s or 6s do the venom, right? Is that right?
No,
only unmodified hit rolls of 5 or 6 hit the bearer. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Originally it was 6s.
I remember that with the old Annoyance and Netlins, which was the old one in the wood.
Yeah, but even on 5, it's really good on the Scuttle Boss. So the guy on the giant spider, he's the only one who
can take it. So
he's got a significant upgrade because unlike pretty much anything else in the spiders, his weapon does mortal wounds, not just his spider. So he's actually really good running around by himself, even in a non-spider list, with that on him, just being difficult to hit.
Yeah, I see that. Then you've got the Totem of the Spider God seems good. The Spiderfang is a whole within 12, add 1 to the number of mortal wounds when they roll a 6. So there's a designer's note about the Cruel Boy. It's like the Cruel Boy Venom Sludge Raker thing where, 5s in the Light of the Bad Moon don't give you an extra wound. But still.
Yeah, they're actually, the Spiderfang ones are all quite good. There's an argument pretty much for, there's one more, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, the Nibbler's Itty Ring. So once per battle, start your hero phase, call on the ring, roll a dice, add the result to casting rolls made until the end of the phase. Is okay, but
It's okay, but it can be quite good early on if you want to dump out a load of magic, because the spiders, when we get to them, they've got quite a lot of movement shenanigan magic. So,
or you just want to drop a purple sun reliably, and then the opponent's got to get rid of it, and it's annoying. So, then you inevitably roll a 1 for your once per game ability, which is I always hate that. You've got a once per game artifact, and it's like, oh, I use it, I roll a 1, nothing happens. Great.
Just let me use it. I can only use it once anyway.
Just let it work. So then you've got the Dankhold Troggoths. You've got a 4-up ward. But if you take any wounds, I roll a 1, and if you roll a 1, you eat it, and you can't use it again. So bit random. Yeah,
and also he's got effectively a 4-up ward against magic anyway. So that there's the standout one here is the one.
Just the command point one.
Yeah, it's called Fetish, is it?
Yes, Beaky Skull Fetish. At the start of your hero phase, roll 3 dice. Each 6, you receive an extra command point. In addition, the bearer can issue the same command up to 2 times in the same phase. A command point spent as normal.
And he's got a really cool command ability, which you need because when you play a lot of Trogs haven't got champions. So he's pretty much the only way you can give them all that attack, and he kind of helps on that. So yeah, it's that's almost, if you're running trolls, that's the 1+.
Yeah, okay. And you got the Pet Gribbly, which is kind of a fun one, but I'm not sure it's good. Law of the Moonclan, so some spells here. I guess these are there's only 4 spells. Yeah. There's obviously spider ones as well, but these I think are the same. So itchy
very similar.
Strike last. Then Nick It is takes D3 mortals, and then if you roll a 10, it gets rid of that weapon or artifact. So it's okay. I mean, that might be quite a nice combo with the plus D6.
Yep.
So you could break an artifact.
Can't do it.
No,
because plus D6 is on the spider.
Oh, and this is a Moonclan. Yeah. Okay. Good one. Good spot. Squig
that one.
Cast on a 5, Squig in a hollow in range. Can reroll charge rolls. I mean, really? Okay. Not really that excited. I mean, it'd be good if you could reroll the movement because it's random move and like runs and charges. But when you
not as much random move. We'll get to that.
I know. Yeah. I've seen that. That's a big improvement. Because a lot of people, like being a 2d6, they're now as flat movement plus a random value, which is so much better. They're a lot faster.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and there's other ways to make them faster as well.
Hand of Gork. Take 1 Gloomspite GIT unit, more than 3. Remove it, send up 9 away. So that's okay. That's a teleport.
It's got some really cool uses on a model you'll hear me talk a lot about. So yeah, we'll come to that one.
All right, I'm looking forward to your insight. Then we've got the Law of Spiderfang. So Scuttling Terrors just allows you to move a Spiderfang unit, which can be quite nice.
Yeah, hero phase move, and bear in mind you've got Arachnaroks, and obviously you've got mages on Arachnaroks. So being able to move those in the hero phase and then dump out Purple Sun, for example, it's almost like a free mirrors.
Yeah. Sneaky Distraction's great because it's on a 7, range of 12, but until the next hero phase, -1 to hit for attacks made by enemy units while they're within range of the caster. Just bubble -1 to hit.
Yeah.
It's a bit like Billowing Ash, but rather than your units needing to be within 12, it's their units within 12.
Yeah.
So Curse of the Spider God, pick any unit in range, hit rolls for attacks made by that unit always fail on a 1 or 2, and save rolls always fail on a 1 or 2 instead of a 1. I mean, that can be good if you're playing against someone who's got tanky McTank face.
Yeah, against elite units, buffed up Chosen, for example.
Well, it just gets around save stacking, doesn't it? Because so many times you play against like someone who's got, I've got Best Day plus Mystic Shield plus, you know, blah blah blah, turn my head, whatever special rules Seraphon I've got, and then you basically go plus 4 save or plus 3 save. So you're like, or like a Bastillodon, but you're always going to sail on 1 or 2. So it's like 33% of the time you're going to take a wound. So it can be pretty impactful. What's quite good about the Spiderfang stuff, because you do mortals anyway, you've got ways round good armor. So it's nice because it kind of double dips on that. Yeah. So it's okay. It's good range on it, 24 as well. So
yeah. And it's one of those things that makes your opponent think about things. And I think it affects shooting as well.
Yeah,
I think it does.
It just says attacks that target the unit. So
yeah.
And it means they're not going to be hitting you on 2s, which can really neuter the impact of something like a Stonehorn or something that hits on 2s and 2s, and you know, like so it sounds worse than it is, but it's not too bad. So the KING GITZ, and they've got the lair of the Loon King's lads. So if you command a King's GITZ army, you can re-roll the dice when using the Bad Moon Loonshrine's Moonclan Lairs ability. Yeah.
So that's good. And the other important thing about these sub-factions is you could take an all-spider army and make it King's GITZ.
Yeah.
There's you have to take...
Locked. Yeah.
Not keyword locked. You don't really get keyword bonuses. So, you can do some different things, but that's quite useful. Control of the moon, we've already said the moon's good, so being able to re-roll it is really good.
We've got the Bad Snatchers, who dabble endlessly in the art of grotty magic, apparently. I don't want to know about your grotty magic. I've seen lots of grotty magic at tournaments. I don't need to see any more of that. And they're the Harbingers of the Everdank. Great names. So basically, each time a casting roll by a Bad Snatcher's wizard, if that wizard's wholly within 9 of another wizard, you can re-roll 1 of the dice in that casting roll.
Yeah. So it's if you take lots of Moonclan wizards, it's good. But again, this is just having the troll with the free endless spell as the general in this list. You don't lose anything, and then he just gets one of his mates who can potentially be on a maximum of +4 to cast it. It starts to get a bit crazy.
Yeah, that's great. We like that. And then we're into my thingy stopped working. Where's that? We'll do that. Oh, that's not what I want to do. There we go. So technical difficulties. Sorry. Then we're into the Jaws of Mork, which I guess is the Squig one, right?
Yep.
Add 1 to attacks of all their jaws if they charge.
Yep. And most of the time they're charging. So, yeah.
Then we got the Mega Mob. These are I think these are the ones that are in the Broken Realm / White Dwarf, wherever they've been.
They are, but they've changed from. They're not. They've got different rules. Some of them, especially this one.
Okay, so each time a Glog's Megamorph Troggoth unit fights, after its attacks have been resolved, the effect of its regeneration is triggered. Oh wow, so they heal after they fight.
Yeah, and the big
they heal
Trog
now in both hero phases, right?
Yeah, they heal in hero phase, and they heal when they fight. And bear in mind, some of the big Trogs heal D6.
Wow. And you get +1 save in the light of the moon.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Digging these out from around a Loonshrine is going to be a pain in the butt, isn't it? So
yeah. Units of 6 trolls are good, but it just the Trog boss and the Troggoth, both the Dankhold ones. They're fighty. They go in. You get them down to a wound. They fight first. They don't even have to kill anything, and they could have healed 6 wounds back. Yeah. It's a good improvement.
Yeah, really good. And then we've got the Grim Scuttle. So
yeah, this is the one probably that I don't think you'll see that much use out of.
So it looks like you've got an ambush rule. But it says if any Arachnaroks have been set up in ambush, instead of doing another Grim Scuttle Spiderfang unit, place it to one side, it'll join that Ragnarok. It's basically like the Deepkin Soul Squire guy, but with spiders, because there's that ambushing spider, isn't there? That big one.
So
you basically tails for them.
Yeah. The Ragnarok spider can tunnel always by itself. It basically just allows you to take
units with
the army with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, I don't think you'll see that. I think you'll be King's Gits generally. Like if you're playing Spiderfang, or maybe the cast one doesn't affect them, does it? So it's only King's Gits really.
Yeah. So I think generally when I played spiders, they were in King's Gits. Squigs were in the Squig one. Trolls were in the Troll one, and then everything else was
as it should be.
Yeah.
So we've got the grand strats and battle tactics. So these can be quite important as the handbooks change. Having a solid set is great. Just ask any Daughters player. So you've got the Loony plans, which I like the name of these. There's the normal one, which is if you do 4 of your book ones, which you generally don't, because
But it's actually, that's not a bad one for this, because they're quite achievable.
Oh, okay. The Ogre ones are quite good as well. I was quite surprised how good they were. You've got Chasing the Moon. If the model picked to be your general has not been slain and have been affected by the light of the bad moon at least 3 battle rounds. I mean, the being affected by the light is going to be easy. If you're playing the clammy hand guy sitting near the shrine, you're going to be always in the light. It's just, does he survive?
Yeah, it's a question for you on this one. So if you've got a general, but you've got a model that counts as a general.
Yeah, he's not been picked to be your general. Okay. He's just a general.
A general.
So it's because the keyword is picked. I think that's how it works. But, hey ho.
But even you say the clammy hand guy hiding behind the Loonshrine.
I mean, if he's dead, you've probably lost, right? I mean...
Yeah.
So... And you got Protect the Shrine, have no enemies within 12, and it's not been smashed.
Hard. Keep it out of 12. If it was not dead, it'll be all right. But out of 12 is a bit difficult. It's a big old model.
Yeah, and people generally want to get to it and want to destroy it. Whereas with the Deepkin, I played the Surging Gloomtide one a few times because people don't give a shit about the boat. It doesn't do enough. No one cares. So you just kind of put it down, they forget about it, and then when they get to like turn 4, they're like, what's your grand strategy? It's going to matter now. They go, oh, you need to stand by that thing. And they're like, oh, I can't stand there and there. So, and then, spell flingers, this could be quite doable. 2 or more friendly Gloomspite GITZ and the spells on the battlefield.
It is, but obviously your opponent, if you're going first in the last turn, your opponent, you might have to cast them, which they can stop, and then they can potentially dispel them. So
yeah, but it's
I mean, I think the first 2 are serious ones for you to pick.
Yeah, it's more of a fun one than then we got some nasty tricks. So these are the battle tactics. So how many did you find you did a lot of these when you were playing? Did you dip into them?
So I think it depends on the build of your list, because some of them from memory are specific to certain types of unit. But I'd say
Follow the Moon looks easy.
Yeah, I'd say you probably use 4 out of your 5. You probably pick 4. That's why the one of do 4 of your own is
right. I see. And what's quite nice about that, if you play your army and your strategy and your game around these, you never care about what's happening with the handbook, right?
Yeah, so absolutely, yeah.
Because you've got Follow the Moon. Can't use it in the first round, but you complete this at the end of this turn. If every friendly Gloomspite GIT unit is affected by Light of the Bad Moon, you control more objectives. You're playing objectives anyway. You're having the turns. You should take them, especially if you're using Stabbers, because they've got a 9-inch control bubble, right?
Yeah, and then with King's Gits and the other ways to control where the moon is. Basically, you pick this when the moon's in the middle of the table, and you know you're going to control more objectives than your opponent. It's like super easy. Yeah.
Then we got Glory Grabbers. 1 objective controlled by your opponent. You complete it if that objective at the end of this turn you control the objective, and a friendly Gloomspite GITZ unit that was added to your army as a replacement using the letters contesting it. So it's a bit random because do you get a unit
very
back?
situational, yeah.
8 mortal wounds by Spiderfang units. So again, that's I did that one with the charging with the ogre units, and I failed it miserably.
Oh well, yeah, but remember, spiders are naturally doing mortals on 6s.
Yeah, I know, but I was doing mortals on 4s, and I didn't get mine because they rolled really low, and then they got made wards, and you're just like, oh, okay.
No, that one I've never picked and not done.
Right, okay. What you want to do to most people, stab them in the dark.
Yeah.
Pick a unit on the battlefield if it's destroyed by a Gloomspite GIT unit while it's not affected by the light of the bad moon.
Yeah. Again, because you can control the moon, that's eminently doable.
And then Moonlight Raid seems fairly easy. So key is if you control the objective and every Gloomspite GIT unit that's contesting it is affected by light.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's 2 where basically you get the moon in the middle of the board, you keep it there, and you do 2 of them easily. So. And
then you've got kill a monster with a Trog, basically.
Yeah, which is
doable.
Not as difficult as it sounds, given that they are a lot more fighty and they heal a lot.
And quite often you end up, there'll be that turn with the monster, it didn't die the turn before because they got a bit lucky, and then it survived, and they're like, oh, he's got a couple wounds left, I should kill him this turn, and you're like, oh, that's actually your tactic then.
And that's where you've got this, the command ability we talked about, the super situational. You might use it in, not the command ability, the heroic bit action.
Yeah.
But.
And roll a 1.
Yeah. Be sad.
Yeah. Okay, so.
But I think they're all achievable.
I mean, that's a solid group. There's a couple in there that are quite easy. There's situations in games that will come up where they become achievable. So yeah, I think it's a good mix. I mean, they're not like amazing, but they're pretty good because you're going to get a couple out of the handbook anyway. So
they're not everyone's favourite sisters. So, but
no, they've just had their bonus points removed because what was that about? I don't like anything that gives you bonus points in tactics because it's such an unfair advantage. I think that's one of the things that led to Gargants seeming really powerful, but actually because it was the monster bonuses, and actually they're so bad right now. Sorry if you play Suns, but I played a tournament with them and I just wouldn't go back. Ogres do it all better. So you've got the Trogherd Heavies Battalion, which I put this in because I thought it's quite useful because you've got a lot of good artifacts and it's easy to get this because basically a tank called Trogboss and a unit of Troggoths, and you unlock it and it gives you an extra enhancement. Yeah, and
there are very few formations that they actually fit in. For example, they don't fit in the 1-drop. They don't fit in the native 1-drop because
you need more.
Because of the amount of wounds the heroes have got.
Yeah.
So so it helps them out a little bit.
Yeah, and if you're running like a pure Trog army, you could have that a couple times, and then I guess because if you run pure Trogs, you don't have sub commanders, right? So you can't use warlords, you can't use that's probably why it's there. But it's good. I mean, like
unless you're going to take Mollog, but that's a complete waste of points. So.
Oh yeah, he used to be good, didn't he? No, I don't know. I've only played against him once, and I Kraken's toothed him, so I didn't get. My opponent was telling me about how he's really tanky and he can save wounds and you can do this and do that, and I just unleash the Kraken, rolled a 6. Oh, he's just dead. Do I get to? No, he's just dead. Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's never been great, and he's not good now.
Right. So that's all the preamble book stuff. So we're going to go through Warscrolls. Now, I'm not going to go through every single Warscroll because it's a lot. We'll talk about the changes, but one Warscroll that we definitely going to talk about, and that's Squig, the Loon King.
Yeah.
Because you've basically, he's your auto 1+. He's in every list. I love him. I'm never not playing with him.
Yeah, so I started out when I tested the book, writing lists without him. And he just gives you so much for so little that it's just really hard to look past. So do you want to tell the listeners what he does? Because I don't think once you've told him what he does, I don't think I'll have to explain why you need to take it.
No, well, I was going to get you to do it, but all right, I'll do it. That's fine. So he's a War Master. We don't care about his combat profile. He's got 6 wounds, 5 up save, so pretty squishy. He's a wizard, 2 spell cast. He knows all the spells from the lore of the Moonclans, which is quite good. He doesn't know the spider ones, does he? No, he doesn't.
No.
He can issue a command point without spending a command point once per turn, which is great. If he's included in Gloomspite GITZ unit, friendly Gloomspite GIT units are affected by Light the Bad Moon when they're held within 12. So he's like a shrine because he's got the moon on a stick. He's got a 4-up ward and he gets +1 to cast and unbind. Great. Then he's got the Loon King's Entreaty. Once per battle, before you roll the dice to determine if the Bad Moon moves at the start of the battle round, if this unit's on the battlefield, you can say he will reveal his prediction. Do not roll the dice. You choose if the Bad Moon moves or stays. So awesome. Turn 2, it moves to the middle. Turn 3, it stayed in the middle. Yeah, I mean, great, amazing, right? Yeah. And he's even got a spell on a 3, which is very likely to cast that. Maybe
on a 2 against +1.
Yeah. Just don't roll a double 1, basically. Range of 24. Roll a number of dice equal to the cast roll. For each 3+, it takes a mortal wound.
Yeah.
Which is ace, especially if you can re-roll that dice if you're in that that formation.
I don't think he can. I think he's got the King's Git keyword.
Oh, he might do. I've cut it off. Let me double check. I mean, it wouldn't make sense, right?
Yeah. I'm fairly sure he's got the King's Git keyword because he is the king. He does. Git.
Yes, he is the King Git. So good shout. This is why I got you on. So you just correct my errors before they go out. It's fine.
All for the highly impressive 160 points.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, he's 10 points more than like a normal tide cast or whatever. You know, I mean, why would you not take him? He's got so much synergy with the moon control, the AOE, the 2 cast, the +1. He knows the lore. He gets command point. I mean, like, if you said to me, like, in any army, 160 point, 2 cast wizard gives you a command point and does something with your allegiance ability and is a good spell, I'd be like, yeah, in the list.
Yeah. And is a War Master.
Yeah. And which gives you more command point protection if your actual general dies.
And so he's just great. I mean, controlling the moon's massive.
Yeah, that's huge because you just eliminate the randomness of it. Oh, it's moved to the place I don't want it to be.
Yeah, you're probably in King's Gits anyway, so you can re-roll it. So you got a 75% chance of it not moving. But when you need it not to move, when it's in the middle, just like I'm not rolling that. It's locked down this turn, which means
as soon as it's in the middle, you're like, I'm going to lock it in the middle.
Yeah. Or you can move it there if you need to.
If you have a really bad second turn and it doesn't move 2 rolls and you're like, third turn, I really need it in the middle, you just go, it's in the middle. So because it's so beneficial. The other thing is he's a really good assassin, so late on in the game that spell is horrible. It's a Lariel spell basically. He just hand of Gorks himself. Yeah.
Did it all the time. People don't see it coming. Hand of Gork himself, and I need to roll it. You know, if you need to do 4 or 5 mortal wounds to somebody with +1 to cast, you roll a 4.
It's like it's almost better than a gateway.
It's off on a 3.
It's 24 range. Do you even need to teleport? I mean, like.
Well, yeah, but you can but you can. It's also good to get him out of trouble.
Yeah.
Because whilst he does give you a lot, there's a certain point in the game where you don't care where the moon is, etc., and you can use him as an assassin like that. So, I mean, I've done it on the first turn before in games where you need to kill something.
After using an aspect to the sea, teleporting around is so good. Like, it's just, it's so good. I would say that spell's amazing, especially in the current handbook where people have got these champions and it's like, I can hit you with this spell, 3+, take wounds. I mean, better get your pre-orders in now. I bet it'll be out of stock for about 5 months of the way it's going with GW stock at the moment. So the model that nobody wanted for ages, now suddenly it's like everyone and his dog's going to want it. So
it's good because he is He's the Archaon, the Nagash of the Gloomspite GITZ. He is. He is.
He's probably killed Nagash, to be fair. Like, Nagash is that bad. It's all right. He dropped him 55 points. You're still not going to take him. Mine's still residing in the bin. I think I generally think I've upset someone at Games Workshop where I just painted my Nagash for the first time, did one event, and then suddenly it was like, no, we're going to break him. I was like, what is this? It wasn't.
Yes, right. He's a lot cheaper and easier to paint. So.
You could take Kragnos, but yeah, I'm not going to go through him because he's in there. You know what he does. We don't need to talk about that. Now, we want to talk about the Gobblepalooza, though. Because this was like a really like confused unit that you never saw. And now it's like...
So now it's a unit. It's not a bunch of stuff.
They were like individual guys you bought as a group, but then they weren't. And then it's so much cleaner. The rules are so much cleaner.
Yeah, it's really good as a formation. I always... Just from writing lists... I find that you run out of points, and this is the thing you put in and then take out.
Because you go, they're cool, and I really like them, but then you're like...
And they boost things.
I mean, it's only 145 points.
Oh, yeah. They're absolutely worth taking. I just find that other things push them out. They're only in one of my sample lists, which is the pure Moonclan list.
But the models...
They're great.
The models are amazing. Like the Shrewmancer... Bogart, I love them. I remember I saw these. I was like, these are just the best ever.
Yeah, they are good. Well worth taking. Give you lots of benefits. I think there's 2 mages in there. Yeah. They give you other abilities.
So you have a 4 wood, and it drops down on the unit. You've got 3 wounds each. You've got once per turn in your hero phase. You can use the Gobblepalooza whatnots, so you have these different effects. You've got Glareful Dance, so only if you've got the Scaremonger. Pick a friendly Gloomspite GIT unit, Hollywood 12, add 1 to run and charge rolls. Then you've got the Pedaled Potion, again it's the Brew Grit, and then add 1 to hit and wound rolls for melee weapons. And then you've got Nasty Poisons, again it's unit Hollywood 12, improve the rend by 1, and that's if you've got the Spikers. You got the 3 guys that give you a buff, and then you've got your 2 wizards. You've got Mesmerize on the Boggle Eye, which enemy unit in range until the start of your next hero phase, they cannot issue or receive commands, which is great. Yeah. And then you've got the Fungoid Cloud, is a spell cast on a 6, range of 12. Then at the start of your next hero phase, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks that target friendly GITs while they're wholly within range. So it's like the AoE Billowing Ash -1. So that's great. I mean, I really like this unit. I think it's amazing. Like, so much synergy, so much good stuff in there.
Yeah, you could take it and the Troggoths to get the free Endless Spell and have them cast it. They can obviously teleport themselves around.
But thematically, the army would look amazing if you got them and Squig and like the amount of magic. You've now got 4 spells already.
Yeah, and they're not a hero from memory, so you can rally them.
Oh, I have to check that. That's amazing. I mean, do they rally on a 4-up then if they're in the light?
I think so.
Surely not. They're Moonclan. Yeah, they're not heroes. Yeah, there's just single, whatever that means. You know, take 1. Means they're not. They haven't found their partner yet. They don't want to be told what DIY jobs they've got to do next. No.
They just hang around in bars.
Yeah. They're just hanging. They're just gonna picking up squigs. Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, like, it seems that way. I don't know. I'm just randomly flicking through the book trying to find what was.
I suppose you look at the Loonshrine rules. Not Loonshrine rules. No, Rally. What's in Rally?
So Rally, and then if you've got the under the light, it says Moonclan receives Rally. They are Moonclans, so yeah, they would get back on a 4.
I'm just going to look up Rally.
Just look up the rules. Well, they're a Moonclan unit. They're not even a hero, so it doesn't matter, does it?
No, I can't see why you wouldn't be able to do it. So
no, this unit, it is a unit. You just can't take more than 1 of the unit in your army, so that's what single means. So, yeah, Rally on a 4+. Yeah,
roll 1 dice for each slain model from that unit. For each 6, you can return 1 And then obviously
under the light of the bad moon,
not costing you a command point.
Yeah,
and you can do it to 2 other units. Yeah, there you go.
Brilliant. I like that. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, they are good. I use them a lot. They never made it into anything other than a pure Moonclan list, just because I kind of ran out of points elsewhere. But yeah, great models, great rules, good utility.
Yeah, I'm going to be like flicking through the book because there's some Warscrolls I'm skipping. So I did put the Loonboss in just to say that he's got if he issues all-out attack, then the wound roll of a 6 does a mortal wound, but they also get the all-out attack.
Yeah.
Benefit.
Yeah. So when we get to the Troggoths, he's got a similar but different tweak to all-out attack. Yeah, he's good. Again, he's one of those. He's probably in a pure Moonclan list. He probably doesn't make it in any other list, simply because you run out of points. Although, with the current handbook, he's cheap. He's reasonably choppy.
He's 5 attacks, freeze, wood rend, D3 damage, 2-inch reach as well, which is nice.
And he's a cool model.
5 wounds now, not 4, and a 6-up ward.
Is he still on the cover of the book?
The cover's exactly the same.
All right, so it's still him, yeah.
No expense spared, literally. Yeah. But it's a good cover, so why not?
Yeah, it's still him.
The peanut butter jelly time grot. Yeah. Peanut butter jelly time. I think he looks like a banana suit. That's all I see. When I see that, I just think he looks like a big banana. Maybe.
Yeah, the model's not quite as ridiculous.
Because it's kind of like a banana.
Yeah.
It's like
but with spines.
Peanut butter grot time. No.
Moving on.
We're gonna have fun. No.
Yeah.
The Shaman. He's got a -1 to hit spell on a 5.
Yeah.
So that's
super cheap. Lots
of ways to stack -1. Now this was a thing in the past.
Yeah.
It's still good because if you add like a couple of minuses, then you I can't use the right of attack to bring me back to base. Then I'm now at an extra -1, and then maybe 1s and 2s always fail anyway, or whatever. So there's quite a lot of ways to like reduce your enemy's output.
Yeah, the tar pit's not as tar pitty as it was.
Well, it was too tar pitty though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was almost MPE tar pit.
Yeah, but you can still do it. If you can. Again, hand a Gork to move a unit out of being near an enemy so that you can rally them on a 4+. So then
you can't hand a Gork if you're within 3 though. I think that's a change in here. So you can't pull out of combat anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
So
but he's still worth having. Again, he's a cheap wizard. If you're going for the formation, the sub-faction with loads of wizards, he's good. As is the
new hero.
The new hero, who's in a really pet peeve about this book. He's in with all the Moonclan heroes, not with the Squig heroes, but he's a Squig hero. The Squig boss.
Yeah. Because he's got the Squig keyword. He doesn't have Moonclan, does he?
No, but he's in that section of the book. Anyway,
but then the Loonboss with Giant Cave Squig does have the Moonclan. Oh, he does have Moonclan keyword.
Yeah, it does have a Moonclan keyword.
Yeah.
It's just in an odd place in the book.
Oh, that's fine.
But yeah, he's really good. I mean, he's cheap. He's not expensive at all.
The model's weird. I don't really know how the mask thing.
Yeah, I haven't even. I kind of saw it online briefly, but obviously when we play test things, we haven't seen the models.
I got sent a model as well, so thanks GW. But I looked at it and went, it's a bit doesn't look like a grot to me.
So when I play tested it, I used the old Battle for Skull pass. It's the guy that's
champion with the little the little squig. Yeah, I know the one.
And he doesn't look that different.
He looks great. I love that model. Yeah. It's basically the same thing, right? Guy with a stick with a squig.
Yeah. So he's not expensive. He allows a Squig to make a hero phase move, which is a great ability.
He's
anyway.
80 points.
Yeah, he's 80 points.
It's cheap as anything.
He can have the clammy hand and stand behind the Loonshrine for recycling. So you haven't got an expensive hero sitting at the back of the board, not doing, not being in the game because he's sitting there recycling.
I'd like to think that he's behind the shrine. He's doing that with the clammy hand, like John Cena. Can't see me, got my clammy hand.
Yeah, what's he doing to make that hand clammy?
Wow, sitting on it probably.
Yeah. Well, what he's doing is he's reaching in his sack.
He's getting his yellow lurker out.
He's got a sack of mushrooms that do cool things.
Yeah.
So, not least of all, adding 3 inches to Squig unit's move.
Release the Squigs is every unit whole within 12. Squig herd only, but
every Squig herd. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Release the Squigs. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's good. And then obviously he's got this something like the mycetic sack or something. He's basically got a bag of dodgy mushrooms.
Yeah. So basically you get +3 to the move, or if you roll a 6 to hit, it does a mortal wound in addition, or you get +1 attack to gobs, fang gobs, huge gobs, basically. Yeah,
and remember that I think the sub-faction ability also gives you +1 attack.
Yeah, yeah.
So you get +2 attack on your jaws.
+1 attacks is one of the characters that isn't capped at +1 max.
Yes.
So
yeah. So yeah, he's great.
He's very good.
In a Squig list, you take 2 of them. 160 points.
I see that. Yeah, I see that.
Because you can't give one unit 2 different mushrooms, but each one of them can give a different unit the same mushroom.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and you might better get hold of this model because maybe he's not like out of stock everywhere because he's new, right?
Probably in a box set though, isn't he, or not?
No, he's individual.
Okay. So yeah, he's good. A lot of the
go on.
A lot of the other heroes, nothing special. Probably the one to talk about is we talked about him before, the Scuttle Boss on Giant Spider.
Yeah, I don't have him. I wanted to have a quick talk about Zarbag.
Okay.
I don't know if you've read him because
I have.
A lot of people skip the Underworlds guys, but I think this guy's actually pretty cool.
He's not bad. Nor's Grincrack, who's the new one.
The new one, yeah. So
Grincrack's like a Loonboss, and Zarbag's a mage with a retinue.
I love the models for this warband, but I like the fact that you start your hero phase on a 4-up, you can do an extra spell.
Yeah.
Well, he's got Jealous Hex on a 6, 18, pick an enemy hero, ignore positive modifiers to hit rolls and wound rolls, and ignore positive modifiers for save rolls. So good, because you can still rend through that, but they can't add bonuses. So utility wise, that's amazing depending what the meta's like.
Yeah, imagine that on a big ogre on a big beast charging into you. I know you can't be +1 to hit, you can't be +1 to wound. Oh, and you can't make your save any better. And you're -1 to hit, and you're -1 to hit because I've netted you.
And he's got a very interesting spell which forces your opponent to retreat.
Yeah.
And if they can't, they take D6 mortals.
Think about forcing to retreat and then being able to rally on a 4+.
Yeah.
Because you're now not in combat anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, you killed half my grots. Oh, I'm getting most of them back because I've made you run away. Oh, and you're not fighting in this turn to kill them anymore either.
Yeah. I think that I just read his Warscroll and was like, that's situationally so impactful in many ways.
And again, he's not dear.
And he comes with 8 guys, and then he's got a bodyguard rule. Wouldn't be a Galatian champion because he's unique, but I think he's 180. I want to say, 180 for him and his unit.
Yeah. And then Grincrack's a bit like
I almost put him in, but I was like, he's not as good, I don't think. No. So he's got he's like a combat one, right? So he's got dub thee. So you could pick a Moonclan unit within 3 to dub them, And then every time a model's slain, they could fight before they're removed. That's basically all it is. And he's got the same profile as the boss. 1 extra wound and a bodyguard.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, but meh.
But then if you're, you know, some of the things the Goblet of Palooza can do to them, you know, there's you can make things stack, or the all-out attack. Mm-hmm. You know, if you all-out attacked them, you know, 6s are now doing mortals. There's lots of options. But yeah, I think while you've got the book, the other hero that's worth talking about instead is the Loonboss, the Scuttle Boss on the Giant Caves and Giant Spider.
I was going to do, because they're kind of later. So
okay, do them later.
It goes through the Moonclan stuff, so I was going to go into Sneaky Snuffers. I don't have their Warscroll up, but I know they've got an ability you wanted to talk about. I think you highlighted it.
Yeah, so they basically can give a unit a 5-up ward.
Okay.
You pick a friendly unit, and they give a unit a 5-up ward. You roll a dice for it, and on the 6, I think they also give them an extra attack.
Yeah, but obviously if they're affected by the light, it's on you get +1 to the roll, so it's a 2-up for the ward, and a 5-up for the extra attack.
Yeah.
So if you rolled like 5, it's like they get +1 attack and a 5-up ward. So
yeah, and they've got a ward themselves.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a lot of wounds. Quite a lot of wounds in the unit because, again, so they're quite hard to shift because again, with the multiple rally, you could be rallying the Gobblepalooza, you could be rallying these, and then you could be rallying one of your units. Yeah. On a 4+ for free every turn.
Yeah, that's
if you're taking blocks of stabbers, which you should be, putting these behind them, it makes the stabbers more expensive, but a 5-up ward is just...
Yeah, and they've got a 2-inch reach on their attack as well. Not that they're really good at combat, but, you know. And they're 110 points. I mean, like, to give that unit of 40 guys a 5-up ward. Yeah.
A third less of them die.
Yeah. You got the Fungoid Cave Shaman with command point generation, which still makes a good ally if you're playing Orcs. So he's fine in this as well. I don't know if I mean, I used to love Fanatics when I was a kid. They were like one of my favourite things.
So I love them, but then they're still neither the fighty ones nor the other ones, the puffer ones, are particularly good.
I thought the puffer ones were useful because you get +1 attack if you're whole within 9, but they can move pre-game and also they block line of sight.
They do, so but again,
that's quite good. But I guess you don't end up points for them, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think a unit to call out,
you don't really need them, right? Because you don't need to block line of sight to your heroes.
No. And you just hide them behind the Loonshrine. But a unit to call out, which is a bit of an odd one, is just the basic grot with spear, the Moonclan stabber.
Yeah, and I didn't take the picture of this because I thought it's easy just to explain it. Yeah. Because it's basically simply the Horde rule, which is while it's got 20 or more models, you can contest objectives while you're within 9 instead of 6.
It's just unbelievably good.
Yeah. In many ways.
Yeah. People underestimate what difference that 3 inches makes, but it's huge. I mean, what are they? 125 for 20?
Probably. Let me double check it. Yeah, they're both 125 shooters and stabbers.
Yeah, the shooters are okay, but the stabbers with that rule are they're just really good. And with the ability, with, as we said, lots of other things to boost them, the Snufflers to give them a ward. They are just really good.
Yeah, that's cool. I put Ripper's Snarlfangs and the Snarlfang Riders in because they're new. Well, the cool. Riders are new. Yeah. Not sure they really fit the aesthetic of the army now. There's only like one normal grot in the army. Because there used to be a whole like normal grot thing back in Warhammer Fantasy Battle. So the Mongolian Wolf Rider things that, yeah.
It's odd because they probably arguably belong aesthetically and kind of the Mongolian wolf first thing more
Probably
in
into
more
Cruel Boys.
tribes. Well, Cruel Boys are Ogre tribes.
Yeah. That'd be
I've yeah, they'd be Noblots, but yeah, I've tried both. They're not the worst. So
I mean, they've got a 6-inch pile in. They don't have to within 6. So yeah, they seem okay. 2 wounds, 5 up save, movement 12. I mean, they're just.
I don't think they're a bad choice. I just don't think. Again, you just run out of points. There's other things you just want to take more of that kind of force them out some of the time.
It's quite interesting that when they redeploy, they can shoot after they redeploy. That's interesting.
Yeah. I think there's an opportunity for more units in the game to have that.
I mean, it's not exactly very scary, they're shooting, but it's an interesting mechanic.
Yeah, but if you ping a wound or two, it can make a difference, can't it? So.
Yeah, and they're not, the Snarl Fangs are not, I guess they're not going to be battle line, are they?
I don't think either.
No, they're not. I'm trying to find them. Ripper Snarl Fangs, 110 for those, and Snarl Pharaohs 135 for 5. So they'd probably never make a list, right? There's no synergy with them, is there?
No,
because they're Git Mob. It's like, what else is Git Mob? It almost.
Yeah, I mean,
it made nice models, so they're probably like, oh, we need to replace the Wolf Riders, but what do we do? Like,
if you're running like pure Moonclan, which obviously isn't that quick, you might think about putting one unit as in to give you a really quick, objective grabbing unit that you can leave in your side of the table.
But wouldn't Squigs do the same thing?
Yeah, potentially. Or you just have more sneaky snufflers, which means you've got more
move and capture with 9 or whatever.
Yeah, you got more stabbers around because they've got a 5-up ward now that they didn't have before. So
yeah. But anyway, I thought I'd put them in because they're new.
Yeah.
Which about Mangler Squigs? I want to talk about Mangler Squigs and Squigs in general, actually.
Yeah.
So biggest quality of life improvement is going to be the movement thing, right?
Yeah. So between the standardized movement, so it's a dice. It's a distance plus dice, not entirely random. Plus the Squig boss, which we talked about, which can add move to it. Plus the being under the moon, which allows you to run and charge, plus potentially being in the faction, which gives you another bite attack. The Squig's got a big leg up. Even the Squig herd, just the plain Squig herd with those bonuses is nasty, and having a hero phase move from the Squig boss.
I quite like the fact that at the start of your hero phase, you roll a dice for each handler. On a 2+, you get D3 cave Squigs back.
Yeah,
but if you can't rally them or anything. I know.
Can't. I don't think you can even use Inspiring Presence on them.
You cannot give them command abilities at all.
Yeah.
But then you kind of want them to go wild because when they run away, then you're on a 2+ picking a unit in 9, they take a mortal wound. So if you had a big herd and you release the Squigs, moved up, ran into their army, and you're like, well, kill them, and I'll kill that character within 9 because they're going to run away.
Because you can use the hero phase move to kind of dart them out.
Yeah.
Then they move up, they charge something. They do a reasonable amount of damage.
Yeah.
And then they explode and do mortals. None of your stuff should be near it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the best thing is you can get them back on a 4+ or 2 chances if you've got a hammy hand.
From the shrine, yeah.
From the shrine, yeah.
Yeah. Because they're still eligible, aren't they? So yeah. I really like the Loonboss on Giant Cave Squig. That model is just amazing.
And he's got the synergy with the Boingrot Bounders that they fight immediately after him.
Yep.
And they all do
me kind of ability, isn't it? So
yeah, and they all do effectively impact hits, or they do impact hits. Squig hoppers are okay. Yeah,
they were never really amazing, but
no,
the Boingrots are good. I mean, they're D6 +7. The normal ones are D6 +10. But they still have the 4 up mortal wound, don't they? D6 plus 10.
Yes. Yeah, they do. They have the 4. So yeah, they've got the hop
used to be 3d6 moves, so now it's like, and you could run, but if you run on top of that, it's 2d6 plus 10 plus a charge, right? So
2d6 plus 10 plus 3 because you give it a plus 3 movement from the. So
it's a long way.
Yeah, 2d6
then
plus
you've got that
3
heroic monstrous rampage to then boing off again. Yeah. Really good.
It is. They're good.
Do they still do that? Yeah, the damage goes in the
down then up.
Down then up again, yeah. So
I mean, do you want to talk about a Squig list while we're in Squigs?
We could do it at the end.
Okay, all right.
Because I've got them at the end, so I think we'll just continue through because we haven't got much more to talk about really. So we'll talk about the trolls now. Maybe you can give a lowdown on. I've got like the Dank Cold Troggoths and Dank Cold Trogboss up, but maybe you can give the 4/1/1 troll changes. I think the biggest one's the regeneration, right? But
so regeneration, which we talked about in the faction. +1 armor. Sorry.
Because they used to have a 5-up save, didn't they? Now they've got a 4-up save.
Yeah, if they're under the moon,
and they're a 3-up save. They're
3-up, yeah. So they get +1. If they're in the faction, they regenerate not just in the hero phase, but after they've fought. The 2 basic type of trolls haven't changed a lot. The shooting on the Fell Waters is great because it's
always been good though, right? I mean, it's like 2s, 3s, and 2.
Yeah, but read the rule.
-1 from save rolls. Ignore positive. Oh right, okay. If they're drenched in vomit, so it's like it's like that ability, that spell that I was talking about.
Yeah. So it reduces their armor save, which is good. And then the Dankold Trogboss is quite hitty. He's got 4 attacks that do d6 damage. I think he's Ren 2.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
The Dankold Troggoth, his attacks are 3 plus d3 damage. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got 4 attacks again, and the Trogboss's command ability is all out attack.
Plus extra.
So it's +1 to hit, but also gives you an extra attack. So if you take the fetish, he can do that on 2 units.
Yeah. Which is why you said it's a 1+, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the only issue with Troggoths as a whole is there's no unit champions.
Right, yeah.
And the Trogboss is 200 points. I mean, he's basically 100. He's the cost of whatever endless spell you take minus 200 points, and then what's left is what you cost.
You probably want to run 2 of him, right?
Well, I tend to run Scragrot and 1 of him.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Because Scragrot's cheaper.
Does a lot more.
Yeah. But yeah, they're good. They're good. They're obviously where they heal, where they fight. They heal d6, all of the big ones. You can take the Troggoths in units. I'm not sure that you would. I think they're better by themselves, but you can. I mean, a unit of 3 of them is 540 points.
Wow.
But it puts out, with the command ability, 12, 15 attacks.
I don't really want to have the image of Dank Cold Troggoths putting out.
No, yeah.
Sorry.
Well, are they Ren 2 or Ren 3?
They're Ren 2.
Yeah. Well, obviously you troll vomit.
But you can vomit and stuff. I mean, it's only 6-inch range, so...
Yeah, but you can make it work. So, and again, having Scragrot in there with them gives you the ability to teleport them around. So...
Yeah, you'd be 9 away though, wouldn't you? So...
Yeah, but still...
Yeah. I mean, it's good for an unleash out if they charge you and then you puke on them, and then they hit you, then you hit them back and you just delete loads of stuff.
Yeah. That really is unleashing hell. So,
it's like Cardiff on a Saturday night getting vomited on.
Yeah,
down Chippy Lane. That's it. Yeah. Game over, son.
Yeah. The Troll's got a boost, all told.
Yeah. Now, I didn't take any photos of the Spiderfang stuff because I thought it's basically the same.
No, so it's basically the same, but all the spiders went up in wounds.
But we can cover that with a you know, this is the change rather than
So spiders went up in a lot of wounds. The one scroll to talk about is the guy on the giant spider.
Boss, yeah.
Because I think he's got 4 attacks with his spear, and his spider's got 4 attacks.
Yeah. It's just 8 attacks because 8 legs, spider, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but his spear does mortal wounds. Every other spider's, the rider's weapon doesn't do mortal wounds.
Yeah.
So with the ability to do mortals on a 5 and the spell that allows you to do double mortals, he does they're damage 2, aren't they, both of his attacks?
Yeah. So
he's got the potential to do 8 attacks, mortals on 5s, each one doing 4 mortal wounds. And if you give him the headdress of many eyes, he's only being hit on 5s, and he's 140 points. But even without that, he's got 8 attacks that on Under the Moon on 5s do mortals, and each one does 2 mortals. So he's probably doing 4 mortals every time he fights.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I just think 8 wounds, 4 up save.
What he's good for is
he's
running down a flank. He's running down a flank by himself because he's moved 14. Is that right?
10.
Okay, move 10. But he runs down a flank by himself. I did find he's got that scuttle away, which says that at the end of the combat phase, you can say this unit will order his warriors to scuttle away. Pick a friendly spider rider unit hollow within 12. This unit and that unit can retreat. Now, this probably needs an FAQ because it doesn't, like, do you retreat? Do you have to be within 3 of the enemy, or is it just a move? Yeah.
Because what you could potentially do is they have their go. You go, I'm going to scurry away at the end of your combat phase and move towards you. And then it's my go. And then I'm going to move and I'm going to try. Which I don't think is the intention, but.
No. So I think he's
all right. I was always a big like, oh, he's cool and he's this and he's that. And I just think, I'm not sure he'd ever. I just don't think the spiders are that strong. Like, if I'm looking at the book, I'm thinking your squigs, your trolls, your mix, they're all good. The spiders are okay, but
so the spiders are deceptively strong because of the mortal wound output across there, and they've got good magic because they get bonuses to cast when they're near each other. The spiders.
I'll take your word for it. I'm sure they're all right. Yeah. I'm not saying like they're bad. I just looked at it and went, it's not really that inspiring. A lot of their stuff seems very similar. They've always had the mortals.
Yeah, it's similar. It got a boost because they're more survivable. But I think if the game was, there's a lot of elite armies out there. They actually get quite strong because they've got a good way of dealing with them, and they've got a lot of minuses to hit debuffs. So
they got a good magic lore for sure. The Ragnaroks. I mean, it's a cool army, but I don't know. Maybe they are good. Maybe they'll be the new power. I don't know, but
I don't think they're the new power. But I think they're probably stronger than Squigs or Troggoths in a mono list.
Yeah, I can see that.
And they've got a lot of rubbish shooting, but it all adds up.
So I guess then we're on to the Loonshrine and the endless spells, but I guess the Loonshrine is familiar to most people, but it is really important. So I just thought to explain the importance behind this piece is that it's your 12-inch bubble Loonshrine. It's still it's impassable now, right? It used to be garrisonable, right? But it's not anymore. Is that right?
Yeah. I'm fairly sure it's impassable.
Yeah, impassable.
No more Richie McAlley.
That's a big change.
Stacking models on it. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because currently it's garrisonable. So that's a big change, actually.
It is, but counting as the moon is also a big change. That's
yeah. And then you've got the Moonclan layers, which is you can replace the unit. We talked about it. On a 4+, half the models.
Yeah.
Only replace the unit once.
Yeah. So again, you know, why would you not take a character with a clammy hand to get double the chance to do that?
So tell me about your mighty mushroom then. Why'd you rate this?
The mushroom's good. I mean, you basically cast it and it sits there and explodes. It's great for putting on an objective.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, against a low model count army. It just does a lot of damage. For 100 points,
of the shooting phase, that's both people's turn, right?
Yeah. So it's great if somebody's kind of built a castle, you drop it in the middle of the castle and go deal with that. It's great to put on an objective.
Yeah.
So go on then, go and stand there. That I'm going to run my unit of 40 stabbers up next to it that only need to be within 9 inches, so they may well be able to be out of distance. And I've got a 5-up ward from the Snufflers.
Because it affects you as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and I can heal them back really easily.
Yeah,
and they're only grots anyway, so who really cares about them? So yeah, that's good. I don't really rate the Malevolent Moon.
I love that model so much.
Yeah, it's a cool model, but I just never really find. I've got it in one of the lists. That was more for theme and points. But it
does
okay.
give you a 12-inch bubble moon as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's not the worst. I think my favourite one is Scuttletide.
Yeah, I mean, it's a standout, isn't it?
It is, especially as a Slaanesh player of old. It's kind of a way of getting Slaanesh. It feels like into the Moonclan. Yeah.
So this one is, you get plus the cast if you're Spiderfang. It's on a 7. Set up within 8 of the terrain features visible, more than 1 from all other models. Then it moves 8. Then you pick a unit within 1, roll 8 dice for every 5-up it takes a mortal wound. In addition, you roll 8 dice for each unit that finishes a normal move, run, retreat, or charge within 6 of the endless spell. For each 5-up, take a mortal wound, doesn't affect Spiderfang. And if it's hold within 12 of an Arachnog, it can only be dispelled on a 9 or more.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we talked about the troll and getting a free endless spell. This is the one I always pick. It's just so disruptive. Again, it's not generally hurting you because generally you've got lots of models that, you know, if you lose a couple, it's not the end of the world. But it really messes with your opponent. You cast this in front of them. It's what, 6-8 inches long.
Yeah, it's quite big.
Yeah. It's a big footprint of ending moves within there. Is it a move, a charge, and a pile-in? Does it cover all 3 of those moves?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah, so...
It says normal move, run, retreat, or charge. So a pile-in is a normal move, right? So
Yeah. But even just a move and a charge, you kind of have it in front of you. People have to move to kind of get parallel with it, and then they charge past it to get to you. It's just doing a lot of chip damage. So yeah, I really like it. In the whole Spiderfang list, because they get bonuses when they're near to each other, it gets really easy to cast. Or if you're using the ring that we talked about, that's good as well. So, again, if you were taking Purple Sun in a list, they stop the sun. It means you're potentially getting this out, and whilst it's not as impactful, it's still an impactful spell. So yeah, I really rate it.
Cool. Quick rundown on points then. Won't take too long on this, but there's a lot of leaders. So your battle line choices are shooters, stabbers, and hoppers at 125, 180. You've got all the different behemoths, which is all the Ragnaroks basically. Manglers are 260. We've talked about the Fungoid's 90 points. I think he's a great ally. Most of your heroes are sort of sub 100. Mangler Squig Loonboss is 370. Got your Boingrots at 140, your Dankhold Troggoths at 180, Fellwater 160 for free, Gobblepalooza we've spoken about, your Rock Guts 160, Snuffers 110. We talked about the points of those. Squig Herds 120, Fanatics are 90 each. I mean, like the stuff's fairly cheap, but I guess you run out of points very quickly.
Yeah, you do, because you want units.
You want the synergy, and then you go, I want this and this and this to make this unit good, and then you've spent 500 points on synergy, and then you're like, oh, could just add another unit of those. Yeah,
and I think Spider Rider's a battle line as well. They're the other battle line.
No, they're only if your general is Spiderfang.
Oh, right, okay.
And Fellwater are battle line if your general's a Dankhold Troggoths. Your Boingrots are battle line if your general's Moonclan. Rock Guts are battle line if your general's a Dankhold. Spider Riders and Squig Herds are also battle line if one Spiderfang, one Moonclan. So basically, if you're playing Moonclan, then your Squig Herds, your Boingrots will become battle line.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure you would take normal Squigs over Boingrots, maybe just a screen. But
they fill up your battle line.
Because they're a bit cheaper.
They're useful in a different role.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose you get 10 of them for 180 and you get 5 Boingrots for 140, but...
Yeah.
Orc War Clan allies. So, Cruel Boys, get your Shaman and your 6 Bolt Boys in there.
Well, so what I have used sometimes, because they can become really hard to get to, is the kill bows.
Yeah.
The bolt. I actually had them as the old goblins. The old goblin bolt throwers.
Oh, okay. I would have marked them on Doom Divers just because of the. I used to love that.
Yeah, but so because they give you something that list hasn't really got, and sitting behind a wall of stabbers, they can be really hard to get to. So, when the meta was all monsters.
Yeah. I like that idea. If you've got like this unit of like Bolt Boys with a Shaman, it's like pretty good. But
and the I can't remember whether the keywords have changed or not, but the in the Orc book there is is it the Mire Brute Troll, the one with the Sloggoth? I think it still boosts the Troggoths, gives them +1
it does,
to
I think,
yeah. So and you've obviously then
just can't ally it into ogres because it's not a Gloomspite GIT Troggoth.
Yeah, and the Orc on the back of a Troggoth, the one, he's not bad as a hero.
He's great, Breaker Boss. I would. That's interesting. I was just thinking about allies in ogres. Those Fellwater Troggoths with that puke. Wow.
Yeah.
That would be pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Tempting.
Even 40 stabbers. 250 points, 40 bodies, can contest objectives from 9
thing is on their scroll, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely. So
better than Noblar screen, maybe. Don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Everyone's all about Noblars at the moment. Right then, that's the book. I know we sort of skipped over a lot of stuff, but I think you get the general gist of the changes. You can see. I don't know how you feel about it. I mean, obviously, I know you've been a big fan of them. I think it seems like they're now competitive, but not NPE kind of broken to be competitive, if that makes sense. It looks like you can play a Squig list or a Spider list or a mixed list and be competitive. I don't know how you found that. But
yeah. Some are more competitive than others. You can certainly build competitive lists. Probably the most is a mixed one, taking the best of each thing. But some of the mono-faction ones are competitive. You can have a lot of the stuff plays like it feels like it should. It's a lot of fun to play with. I think, has it got a top end list in it? Maybe. But is it something you could take to a tournament and have a decent chance with? Yeah, it is. You know, it's not like I'm playing Gloomspite, it's an easy win.
Yeah.
You know, even some of the mono lists, that's not the case. Certainly everything's got a lift up. I don't think anything's particularly broken. There are some good synergies in there.
I remember I played against like all Trog armies at a couple of events with my Deepkin, and I was always like, my opponent was like, what do they do? Just like, did something else? It was like, no. And I was like, they just felt like they just had a little bit missing, but this looks like it's been given to them. So
yeah, absolutely. It's a lot. I think it's just a lot of fun to play with. I think it's a lot of fun to play against. It's a bit less random to play against as well. It's kind of easier to understand. It's kind of feels streamlined, boosted up, and more fun. So yeah, I think it's a really good book. Yeah, if you're not what's the raw power of it, you know, just as a book, as a player's book to pick up and use, I think it's a really good book. So
yeah, good. So you've put some lists together, so we'll go through them in order that they're in that document you sent to me. So you've got Pure Moonclan, which is Scragrot, Gobberpalooza, Loonboss, 4x 40 Stabbers, 2x Loon Smasher, 2x Spore Splatter, 2x Snuffler, Mighty Mushroom, and the Moon. So I guess you'd be taking Clammy Hand, King's Git, and this is a bit of a fun. This is a bit of a fun list. It's probably the weakest of all of them. Yeah. But it's just a lot of bodies to get through with a lot of ways of healing them. It's got 2 units of both types of fanatics, a lot of debuff. If you've just got a load of grots and want an army, if you've got an old Night Goblin army and you want to get something on the table really quick, this is really easy to get on the table really quick. You might need to paint Scragrot. 160 Stabbers, come on.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, a lot of people have got them.
I know, but just those people.
Yeah. It's not an army to play with if you play slowly.
No.
Because you won't get past turn 1. But it's not the worst list. Just for clarity, Scragrot is the first thing in every list. But yeah. I played this. It's a lot of fun. There's some things that really struggle to get through it because they just haven't got the quantity of attacks to grind through it, with the ability for things to come back, with the 5-up ward, with the 2 types of fanatic, and then the spells doing the damage.
Yeah, I mean the game's about objectives, really, isn't it? And then the Loonboss can make the unit ping out mortals. So
and the ability to be 9 inches away from an objective and still claim it on the Stabbers is huge. So
you could swap some of the Stabbers out for shooters if you wanted to, if you were.
You could,
that way inclined.
Yeah, they're probably not as good, but you could. You could probably, if you're going to do it, I'd run 3 units of Stabbers and 1 unit of shooters. And keep the shooters back near the shrine to kind of protect it.
Yeah. Then we've got the pure-ish Squig list, which you've said is pure aggression. Run and charge under the moon, 3-inch extra move from Squig Boss, still can recycle units, benefit some of the allegiance. I guess this would be could either be in King's Gits or the Gob one, whatever that's Mob or more.
You'd put it in this. You put it in the Squig one.
Yeah. So you've got again Scragrot. Loonboss on Giant's Cave Squig with the Git Shield. Squig Boss ×2. 1's a general with Clammy Hand, 2x 10 Squig Hoppers, 2x Herd, 3x Boingots, and 2 Manglers. Yeah. It's quite a nice looking army. If you got that Christmas Squig box, you'd be laughing. I did actually see there was quite a few of them after, because I thought normally they sell out straight away. There was quite a few left. I was like, I might buy that, knowing what was coming, but I thought I don't need another army, and I'm certainly not going to get around to painting them, I don't think. So
no, it's
Moonclan were my first thing I collected when I was a kid. I love Night Goblins, I should say, but
some things it really struggles with, but again, it's lots of fun. And you can, it is not difficult at all to launch both Manglers turn 1 into your opponent, and there's very little they can do about it because they move so quickly.
Then we got the Trog list. So you've said lots of hard-hitting trolls by Magic. They don't have unit champions, you mentioned already, being a problem. So that's Scragrot. You've got the Loon Skin and the Skull Fetish Trog Boss. Dank Hold, 2x6 Fell Water, 2x6 Rock Gut. Great.
That's what it says on the tin. Yeah.
The Rock Guts I like as well because they can pick out people with their Mortal Wound shot. You don't need to, it's not a shooting attack, is it, really? Yeah,
and they've got decent rend. Obviously, if you combine them with the Fell Water. Now, here there's an argument to say you take 4 3s of Fell Waters and 2 6s of Rock Guts.
Yeah.
Because obviously recycling a unit of 6, you get 3 back. Recycling a unit of 3, you get 2 back.
Right, I see. But you can only do 1 a turn, right?
Unless you only do 1 a turn. So, you probably want the Rock Guts definitely in 6s. The Fell Waters you kind of split between them. The Dankholds can run around by themselves because they're fairly hitty.
This would struggle in the no Galatian champions in this for the new current handbook, but I guess
I mean you have to really come away from pure trogs. I mean, I think it's acceptable to have the king of the book in there. But you can come completely away from trolls if you start to play in the Galatians.
I kind of think that you can have a nice Trog component to a Gloomspite army without going pure Trog, which I think is good.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to say, I just want 3 Fellwater Trolls, and a Trog Boss and maybe a Dankhold Troggoth, that's...
Well, you could basically go 1 unit of Rock Guts, 1 unit of Fell Waters, 1 Dankhold, 1 Trog Boss, Scragrot, and then all the points you saved, you could then buy other stuff. So you could have a clan contingent with it or something.
That's 320...
Almost 1,000 points?
About 700 points, I think.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So, So, a good, solid list again. It struggles with not a lot of bodies, and at the high end it's going to struggle because people target the Trog Boss and Scragrot, and then you just can't use command points because nothing's got a champion. So that's its problem.
Yeah.
And as we said, ally in the Mire Brute or the other one that gives them. Yeah. So.
Then you've got a Spiderfang one. So lots of bodies, loads of magic, movement shenanigans, a lot more game than it used to. They got a boost in durability. So you got Scragrot, Web Spinner Shaman, both on the Ragnaroks, Scuttle Boss and Giant Spider, a Shaman, 3x10 Spider Riders, 2x a Ragnaroks, Scuttle Tide and Mort's Mighty Mushroom.
Yeah. So,
but you said you take King's Gits with this one rather than...
Yes, yeah.
Because you won't need the tunnelers, have you? Well, the Skitter Strand, that's the tunnel.
The Skitter Strand are the tunnelers, but it just doesn't really give you anything because you don't want to tunnel the rest of it. It's quite quick. Tunneling the Arachnaroks, being able to set different movement shenanigans. It's one of those ones that people will underestimate how good it is until they've played it. I know when Jack and I played some games with it, he was surprised at how good it was, given how bad it used to be.
Yeah. I see that.
Yeah. So probably of all the lists we've done so far, I kind of the pure Moonclan was, I said, sort of 2.5, 3 out of 5. The other two are kind of 3.5s. This one's a 4 out of 5 in comparison. And then we'll go to a mixed list, which I think is really the strength of the book.
I think so, yeah. Because you can, like I say, they're cheap enough. You can have these little contingents, and they kind of synergize well. You don't need to go the whole army in one thing. because you kind of you're almost restricting yourself a bit too much. So you've got Squig Troggoths with loon skin, Spider Boss on giant spider with headdress and many eyes, 3x40 stabbers, sneaky snufflers, 3 manglers, and scuttle tide. Like it. It's good. I like manglers a lot. I think they're really cool.
So you can't ignore the manglers because if you don't kill them, they get better again.
But you still got 120 bodies that that recycle, and you've still got the mortal wounds little dark guy. You still got the Trogboss, which he's a good model, but you also get the free scuttle tide, and the snuffers do the buffing, and so. And
you got Squig. You haven't got a clammy hand. I mean, you could swap the Spider Boss for other characters.
Well, that's the good thing. You can swap stuff out to taste, can't you? You can go. Yeah. I mean, I'm taking clammy hand, so maybe I don't bother with the loon skin guy.
Yeah.
No,
you'd always take the loon skin guy. You wouldn't take the Spider Boss.
Right. Okay.
But potentially you could drop the Spider Boss and put in 2 of the new Squig characters. Give one the clammy hand to hide, and then they can both give different manglers 3-inch extra move. Yeah.
Would you not be tempted to drop I suppose the manglers get it, so they get buffed, don't they?
Yeah.
So but
you can.
It's just missing a Gobblepalooza, mate.
Well, that's what I said. The Gobblepalooza is good, but you just run out of points, and basically you kind of get into a situation where you kind of, do I take Squig or do I take the Gobblepalooza?
Taking both,
and you can, but then you're losing something else.
Yeah,
because almost the Gobblepalooza almost costs the same as the Trogboss with the free endless spell.
Yeah, I get that.
And he's pretty hard to take down.
Yeah, because you're resilient, fighty thing.
And he can stand in the middle of a bunch of stabbers,
just
fight over the top of them.
Top. Yeah.
He's got a little mortal wound poke as well. He's got.
But that's the good thing about the Squigs, because the manglers, you can almost wrap that in stabbers, can't you? And then because I know because they're only on 25mm bases, right? Yeah. They still fly when they bounce, right? I mean, I'm not hallucinating. Yeah, it flies. It's got a 2-inch reach on its attacks as well. It's only the rubbish attacks that are 1. So you could 100% create. You could have 3 blobs, with a mangler, blob of a mangler, blob of a mangler, and you're like, come fight them. With their 5-up ward, coming back, rallying. Yeah.
So, is it broken? No. Is it a lot of fun? Yeah. And can you swap things in and out?
And that's nice with the manglers, because then on the gradient would be aggressive. They just bounce over and combo charge something. And then,
you could swap one of the manglers for some trolls. You could swap some of the manglers for some,
you could swap the stabbers out, because the trolls become battle line with a general, because it's not restricted to your sub faction, it's your general. So that's the nice thing about the flexibility here. You can go, well, my general will be a troll, but I'm going to take King's Gits because that benefits this, but that means I can put a unit of Fellwater as battle line, and then I only need don't have to have 3 units of stabbers.
You could have that in if you wanted to give the manglers the extra attack.
You could put it into the gob. Mob, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think that's the nice thing. The book
feels a bit like the Skaven book, like that, where you're
it's not very restricted at all. Yeah, you're not locked in. There's lots of options. You can write lists without Squig. I just enjoyed playing with him so much, and he's such good value.
Oh, he's amazing. I agree with your assessment that he's basically auto include.
I think with those rules, whatever list he was in for that amount of points, you'd put him in.
And he adds value to any variant of the army, whether it's a troll army, whether it's this army, that army, he still adds a lot of value. So there'd be purists out there. No, not in my troll list.
He's got quite a good shot, I think. He's done his
I still got a shot? I can't remember. I didn't look.
I think he's got a shot.
I didn't even look at his profile. I was just looking at his special rules. Because the rest of it is kind of whatever.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't have it. He's just got a melee weapon now. He used to have a shoot attack, didn't he? So,
yeah. He gave that up for everything else. Yeah, because he was poor to average in the previous book. So
yeah, I mean, at least he's got a 4 at ward now. I mean, like I think he had that. Might have had that before, but
he still can die, and he dies really easily. Yeah, but that's why he's so cheap. He is.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I think overall a really fun book, and it's kind of a collector's book as well.
Yeah.
As we said, you might not have any trolls. You might go out and buy a unit of 3 trolls. It's really easy to fit them in.
Yeah, it's not like you suddenly have to redesign your list. Like if you go, I really want to do that combo of the Fell Waters with the Rock Guts with the guy, I don't need to buy 2,000 points of trolls. I can have 700, 800 points of trolls to unlock the combo in my Moonclan army or my Squig army and still have that combo, but back it up with whatever. So it's good.
And you don't need to go and paint that. You don't need to go and paint 160 Night Goblins.
And I wouldn't.
but you don't need to. But you can. And,
you can if you want to. And if you're that sort of person, Brian. No,
I did have, for clarity, when I play tested this, I had 2 at least of every unit painted.
Yeah, it's good. I know. I sent you a load of my stuff, didn't I? Because I had a load of assemble stuff. I was just like, no, I'm not going to do them.
Yeah, so
I regret it, but it's fine.
But yeah,
I think I've still got a lot of my old metal Night Goblins, like the originals that I had. I've got like the old metal square base guys. I've got some of the special characters. I've got Skarsnik and Gobbler, which is they've called as that guy with giant cave squig, but I've got him in metal. I've got like the old Fanatics. Got like the originals. Still got my original Doom Divers, still got my original Rock Lobber, still got my original Savage Orc, still got the metal original Spiderfang guys, the actual foot spear guys and the foot
the forest goblins.
Yeah. So
I think it's a shame that the books only got 2 new kits.
Yeah.
Which is the Squig Boss and the other.
I mean, the Underworld's Warbands.
A war machine or something that they could have put in a funky war machine.
But at least you can ally in the kill bow and then convert it. Use your old Doom Diver, whatever. I mean, I don't see this as like that. In AOS3, there's like a pattern. Like you're either getting a character and an update, or you're getting like extra stuff and like cool stuff. I don't see this as that. I mean, it's almost an argument that maybe down the line, and I don't know any of this because, this is me speculating, you might see something like a Git mob expansion because you've got the Snarlfang and it kind of feels weird they're on their own, and maybe that would have war machines and, other stuff. And then you're like, well, actually, now the Git mob's expanded and maybe it becomes like, we got like Auric war clans. Maybe it's like the Gloomspite GITZ is like the Git one, and then you've got the factions in, because that's the annoying thing about the War Clans books, almost a little restricted. Although you've got Big War, if you wanted to use like Iron Jaws, Iron Sun's rules, you can't really have the other stuff in there and it doesn't synergize. Whereas like I would quite like to have like an Iron Sun's contingent with a Cruel Boys contingent, 1,000 points of each, in a 2,000 and get all the rules from both. Obviously have my cake and eat it, have my dirty tricks, have my thing. And I think it's almost like this one's a lot freer because the sub-factions aren't like a massive, it's not like OBR, Petrix Elite or nothing. It's like they're all okay and you could play a balanced list, mixed list and mix and match whichever one you wanted, but King's GITZ is always viable. So
as I said, the only one I think that is questionable is the Ragnarok one.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean that's the only one I wouldn't run probably.
Yeah, I didn't use the mage one a lot because I think the others give you a bit more. Yeah, because it's kind of, for me it's kind of King's GITZ. Unless you're running trolls, then you run the Troggoth one, or you're running Squigs and you run the Squig one.
Yeah,
but you can play the other ones. There's nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong with it. No, exactly. So
because you can run an all of Ragnarok list because the Arachnaroks that have got normal goblins on them become battle line,
so they don't take up your behemoth slots.
Yeah, if the web spinner is your shaman, so you can get quite a lot of big spiders in and have them all tunneling. I mean, obviously you've got the issue then of physically being able to bring them up on the board because they're on pie plate bases. But yeah,
I imagine the Kronstite, whatever it is, incarnate would be a good addition to this army as well. If you play in the I know you've stayed pure. You've stayed like me, purist within the book. But I mean, I hate the incarnate, but it's
and Kragnos. Kragnos and a horde of stabbers is not a bad list.
No,
because he goes off and smashes stuff, and then what's left is never going to have enough bodies to potentially chew through your million stabbers at the back of the board. So
I think if I'm playing the army, I'd always have a little contingent of what I call night goblins, like character, a horde of unit and a buff piece.
Yeah,
have a couple shamans, and then have whatever else would be like trolls or squigs or both. Or I don't think I'd ever run like a pure without the bodies because I think it's so important to capture objectives. But
I mean, I just think if you went to an event, if you went to a 100-player event and everybody was using Gloomspite GITZ, you probably wouldn't see many identical lists.
Yeah. And you can take the Elgars of Gargants as well. I forgot to mention it because
yeah, so did I.
if you want to buy 3 of them because they only come in a box of 3, I think you might be able to mail order one separately, but probably about half the price of the box set. But
I'm not quite sure why he's still in there, because can you ally in? You can certainly ally in one giant, can't you?
You can mercenary it in,
Yeah, mercenary it in.
They've just reduced the points on the mercs as well. They've become cheap because they don't get the Sons of Bearmat rules, so they're like 400 something points now.
Not a bad option either.
I guess that's because you went, why would I get a giant when I could have the incarnate? So
yeah.
Well, anyway, I think that's enough for Gloomspite GITZ. Thank you very much for coming on, Bryan. I think it's been really useful to get someone who's played a lot with it to talk about it, because I'm just kind of all over the place with it. But yeah, it's good. So thanks very much.
No problem.
Pre-order today, so if you want to support us, click through the link below in the comment to go to Element Games, use the referral code for extra crystals. Hopefully they can get stock. Disclaimer, it's not up to me or them really. So yeah, hopefully there won't be massive stock issues like there have been with Zinch and other armies. Beastman also dropping today. I should have a Beastman show premiering exactly the same time this one premiered, so if you watch this one first, go watch that one. If you watch the Beast one and you're watching this, great. Let us know in the comments below what is your favourite army list. If there's anything you are particularly looking forward to doing with your collection. Just give us some feedback on if you agree with what we've said, or if there's a Warscroll you think we've glossed over that you think's really good. And hopefully we'll follow this up with some list techs. If you like to come back on, Bryan, after you've had a few games and you've got a honed tournament list, or you've gone to an event with them and we can talk about it or something like that, would be good.
And I just checked. Ragrot's already temporarily out of stock online.
Yeah, it's like people know already. How would they know? Cool. All right. Well, thanks very much. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all in the next one.